Hi guys, today I'm going to be reviewing for you the newest palette from Beaute bar. Now I know that they have other things that are launching pretty much around the same time, but they're having some issues getting like all the products to them. So this is going to be launching first, but just know that there are other products coming and I don't know what they are yet. She did say she was going to send them to me as soon as she got them herself. So I'm excited. We're going to be testing out the Melted Mattes palette. I'm going to do 2 looks with this because I also have another release I need to film with before I leave on a trip on Thursday. I don't know when you're going to be seeing this, but just know that I don't have time to do more than 2 looks with this. But here's what the palette looks like. So it's a beautiful all matte palette, and I think this color story is very fun. Like, yeah, half of the palette is neutral, but it's like neutrals with like pops, like real pops of color. So we have some neons down here, we have a lot of warm tones, some pinks, and I'm excited to dig into this. I will say, when I swatched this palette, some of the mattes on the bottom, like the neon shades, definitely swatch like neons, and if you know what I mean when I say that, they're very powdery, a little bit crumbly, very dry. They're not gonna stick unless you have a tacky base. So just something to keep in mind. These are not like easy to work with neon shades, and I can say that before even having tried them on my eyes because I've swatched and tried shades like this before. So just keep that in mind when I use this palette. I'm gonna use these neon shades sparingly because I'm not someone who really, I don't think that I'm very good at using neon shades, just to put it that way. And it's not really, I don't know, neons aren't really my thing. They've never been my thing. I've tried a lot of them in the past, and I really only like to use them as like accents, if that makes sense. So we're gonna do a little bit of that today, and I'm still excited to play with this. So where is my eyeshadow primer? Haha, I got it. So I'm still using my DD Signature one because, like I've said in the past, I've ran out of my Natasha Denona one, so we're just currently using this one because I like it and I'm okay with using it. Now, the launch date on this is tentative, as she said in her Instagram post, and she said she wasn't sure exactly when it would be launching, but it should be sort of around the corner and not too long, so I can't give you like exact information. If I know anything by the time I post this, I will either leave it in my description box or put it up on the screen if I know by then, but just know it should be coming soon. So if you're interested, just go follow on Instagram and I'm sure that she will update there. But since I do have a trip coming up, I do want to just make sure that I get this video up before I leave in case this does launch when I'm gone. So I'm just kind of tapping up my eyeshadow primer here, and I think what I want to do is I want to do like a neon yellow inner corner because that's kind of fun, and I do still want to like test out that shade and see how it is. I am going to use a white base with it though when I get to that point because, like I said, it is the kind of shade that you really need to have a tacky, ideally white base with, and I'm not usually someone who likes working on a white base, but when it comes to neons, they really do benefit from it. So I'm actually gonna do a very simple sort of neutral look with this and then do the neon in the inner corner for like maximum pop. So I think I'm gonna start with just putting some of these mattes into my crease. I'm thinking probably like this one and this one. So we're gonna start with this. I'm just gonna do a very, very simple crease. It's not gonna be anything fancy with this, so I'm just gonna speed through this pretty quickly. Okay, so I have the mattes down and those performed beautifully. I wouldn't expect anything less from Beaute bar's mattes because I really do like their matte formula. So for the inner corner, I'm gonna use this white base from Suba Beauty. It's the only white base that I have that I sort of like. I don't even love this one. I think it dries down a little too quickly, but it's just what I have to work with right now. So I'm just trying to find like the right brush for this. I guess I will just use one of my Rephr 13s because it is nice and small. So I'm just gonna take some of this base on my brush here. This one has dried out a little bit. I'm gonna take some of my hand first just to make sure it's all right. I just have not used this in so long. There we go, that's better. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of that on my brush and I'm gonna do this in the inner corner of my eye where I want that neon shade to be. And I am going to put shimmers on my lid because that is what I prefer. But like I said, I do want to have a white base down before I go in with this neon shade because it's just going to perform better. Like, I feel so out of my element when using something like this because it's just not something I'm used to using. I'm just trying to get a little bit of a blend with this, even though I'm not going to be putting that much of the neon on my lid, but just to make sure that like the end result looks smooth and blended. Trying to get a little bit of a blend here, but I do need to make sure this doesn't dry completely before I go in with that. So I'm just going to take another one of my Rephr 13 brushes, and I'm dipping into the neon yellow, and I'm just going to pack that basically on top here, and we'll see how that ends up looking. So it's definitely very bright, but just trust me when I say you need to have a tacky base for this formula, because it is quite dry, and when I swatched it, it like barely stuck to my hand at all. So that told me that I needed to work with this a little bit differently than I would just like a regular matte shade. But I mean, it's definitely doing what I wanted to do. Like, I think that looks really fun, and I do enjoy having neons in my inner corner. I think it's a cool way to sort of play with neutrals and color, and it's just a little different, you know? It's different from what I normally do. I'm gonna switch to an even smaller brush here and do a little bit of this on my lower lash line, just like in the front portion here as well. And I'm really just packing this on. I'm not blending much. I'm just putting the shade on and sort of just leaving it where it is, because I don't want to over blend this. I want to make sure that it stays nice and vibrant. And then for my lid, I think I'm going to use a multichrome from Cliona because that just sounds fun. So this is one of the iridescent ones. It does have a bit of a pinkish shift. This one is called Light Fast. So I'm going to put on a little bit of glitter primer first before I do that. Just taking that on the middle of my lid here where I don't have any shadow yet, because this is where I really want that to stick. And I'm just going to basically put this shadow right on top. And I'm going to blend it into all of the mattes that I have, just overlapping a little bit, not putting it too much over that neon shade because I want the neon to pop, obviously, but I do want to have a bit of a blend between the neon and the shimmer, and also just blending this into the outer corner. So I think this is what I'm gonna do for the eyeshadows. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna finish up, and that's gonna pretty much be it, because I really want that neon to be the star of the show. So I'm just gonna finish off with some lashes and mascara. So this is the completed look. Like I said, I just finished off with some lashes, some nude in my waterline, and that was it. And I really like this. I think it turned out very fun, and I really enjoy a neutral look with a pop of neon. I think that is really fun, and I'm excited to see what I can do with some of these other mattes as well. I'm thinking I want to use probably like the oranges and the pink in my next look. I still want to like incorporate some of these neutrals because I feel like it's just very complementary to the palette, and is an easy way for maybe if you're intimidated by these rows to make them a little less intimidating. So yeah, I'm excited to do another look with this. So far, I really like this palette. I think it performs really well. And yeah, let's go ahead and move into look number 2. So we're gonna go ahead and do the second look, and I'm just looking at their Instagram now to see if they updated the launch date for this, and they actually did like 2 hours ago. So this one is launching on August 2nd at 12 p.m. EST. So I will have the information down below in my description box, as well as my affiliated code if you're interested in picking this up. It also says it's going to be a 3-piece collection, but this is the first one that is going to be launching. So if you maybe want to wait for like the other things, if there are maybe other things that you want to pick up, I would say you could do that, but at your own risk, because I do know that Bella Beaute bar does tend to sell out some of the time. So you know, if you want to wait, that's going to be up to you. If you really want to get this palette, you might want to get it when it launches. So I have an idea for this look. I'm wearing like a very, very bright colored neon top because I really want to play with that orange neon shade, but I also want to do a big wing because I feel like that's going to look really cool. Just do like black in the outer portion and then like that really, really bright orange in the front portion, and then do some kind of shimmer on the lid. So I'm actually gonna go straight in with the black shade and do my wing with, and we'll see how that one performs. And I'm just gonna use a very, very small kind of flat, is this an eyeliner brush or an eyebrow brush? I'm not exactly sure. I think it's, oh, okay, so it's the E75 angled brow brush from Sigma. I really like this for doing wings. So I'm just gonna do this like I usually do in my Big Wings for Hooded Eyes tutorial that I did a while back. I can link that up in the corner if you have not already seen that, but it's pretty simple. Once you get the hang of it, you kind of just make a big triangle and then just kind of fill in the inside, and then you basically have a wing. So once I have the outline done, I'm just gonna take a bigger but still small brush and just work on filling this in as much as it is I want. I do want a lot of this actually to be this black shade because I'm not going to use any crease shades or anything like that. So I just want to make sure that I'm like shaping my eye in the way that I want with this shade. I'm taking it in a little bit and blending it into my crease, but not too much. I am very much enjoying the formula of this black shade. It's nice and easy to work with. It's pigmented, but it's also very blendable. So I can definitely see myself reaching for this black again. Now, I gotta say, I don't really have problems with black shades unless they're just not pigmented enough. So I wouldn't say it's like, oh my god, a revolutionary black, but it's definitely a very good black and an easy black to work with. If you're someone who likes black eyeshadow, you will definitely like this one. Now my question is, do I want to go in with the white base again for this other shade? I kind of think I do, just because I really want it to be like super poppy, so I think I'm gonna do that. So I really don't love the one that I used yesterday. This one is the Opaques from Super Beauty. I also have this one from Super Beauty, which I have not really used that much. It's called the Prime and Paint, and this is an eye primer. So I'm gonna try this one and see if maybe I like the result with this one a little bit more. I'm actually gonna do one eye at a time because I really don't want this to dry. So I'm just gonna take some of that white base on a blending brush and just put that where it is that I want to put the shadow on top. And actually I want to put quite a bit of it on my lid as well, even though I am going to put a shimmer over the top. Okay, so I like the consistency of this one a little bit more. It's blending out a little bit better, but it's also shearing out a bit more. So it kind of just depends what you're looking for in your white base. I'm not going to be one to recommend a white base to you because I honestly just don't have one that I love. I had the one from P. Louise and I like that one, and I don't know what happened to it. Like, I don't think I used it up, but I did like that one. So before this dries, I'm gonna take a flat brush that I would normally use with shimmers, and I'm gonna use this shade because I think that's gonna look really cool. And I'm just gonna pack that on top of this base, and we'll see how that ends up looking. And then I am going to cover some of this, like I said, with a shimmer. Because I'm not someone who enjoys doing all matte looks. I just feel like they don't wear that well on me. But I do want this to be pretty prominent and almost do sort of a halo eye with this, where I have most of the shimmer just like right in the middle. So I see I already have a little bit of fallout with this shade because it is, like I said, a neon shade that is quite on the dry side and really needs a tacky base. But you can see it's definitely sticking where I put down that white base, and it's really popping, and I like that. So that is pretty much like the gist of it, and I really like where this is going. I'm not going to really blend the edges of this because I really want this to be very nice and pigmented. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same on the other eye. So it's really not that difficult to work with a white base if you're not used to it, but it does take a little bit of practice, and you can't use these kind of neon shades in a normal eyeshadow way where you like blend and build on top of each other, because it's just not gonna work, like especially this kind of formula. So like I said before, just something to keep in mind if you're interested in neons. These are not going to be your easiest neons to work with, but they do pack a punch if you put them on top of a white base and you work with it sparingly and not try to like blend and build too many colors on top of each other. Now all I have to do is figure out what kind of shimmer that I want to use. So I'm thinking I'll use one from the Giant Blend Bunny palette, because there's one there that's more of like a topper shade that just goes with everything. So this is the Ellis palette. If you haven't already seen that, it looks like this. So I think it is this shade, which is called Ethereal. It's basically just like glitters that are very neutral, but I find that it really looks good layered over anything. So I'm just gonna spray this a little bit. I'm not gonna put a glitter primer on because if I try to put a glitter primer over the top of that neon, I think it's going to move it around and I don't really want that. So I'm just gonna put this shade sort of right in between here first where I don't have any shadow on my eyes, and then I'll gently blend it into both the black shade as well as the orange shade. But I think this is going to do exactly what it is that I wanted to do. I love that this is very much like a transparent color that just takes on whatever is underneath, but it also looks really good on its own. I think this is really fun. This is kind of giving me tiger vibes. I don't know if that is just me, but I think this is great. So I'm gonna go ahead and just finish off with this eye look. I'm just gonna put on some lashes and mascara, and I think it's gonna be it. And here's the final look, and I love this. Like, I've had so much fun playing with these neon shades. It's literally been forever since I've played with shades that are this bright and this kind of like in your face. But honestly, I love both of the looks that I've done with this palette. And even though these are harder to work with neons, I do think they pack a punch if you're someone who's looking for neon shadows. Just be prepared to have to work a little extra for them to do what it is that you want them to do. So those are going to be my thoughts. I think the mattes are beautiful. The mattes are really, really nice. I can absolutely see myself reaching for these mattes again. And yeah, I really enjoyed this palette. If this is a palette that you think that from what I have said that you're going to enjoy, I think you'll like it. I think I'm just going to leave this short and sweet because I am not going to have too much time to like edit this video. But thank you so much for watching. If you want to see some more Bella Beaute bar content, I will of course have my playlist up on the screen. And if you are new, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.